Based on a true story, the prologue of the film reveals that between the 1960s and the 1980s, tens and thousands of Nigerian children were fostered by their parents to white working-class families in the UK. Working or studying Nigerian parents would pay white British families to foster their children. This informal system became known as farming. The movie starts in 1967 England, where a gang of white bullies is chasing a black man in a railway station. It's a dark and chilly night, and the victim is running for his life. Unfortunately, he arrives at a dead end and is forced to beg the bullies to spare his life. The scene abruptly cuts to Tilbury in East London. A Nigerian couple, Femi and Tolu, travel to Britain for education and decide to get back to their nation after completing their studies. Soon after, their son Enitan takes birth. One thing leads to another, and the couple tearfully hands over their infant son and a wad of banknotes to Ingrid Carpenter. Ingrid is a working-class wife from a gypsy background living in a terraced house in Tilbury. Femi and Tolu promise to return once they're fully settled in life. Fast forward to 8 years later, Enitan is now a boy. He is artistic but shy, preferring to play behind the sofa rather than with his siblings, whom his parents also farm. By now, his foster mother Ingrid has as many as 10 black children in her erratic care. Her husband remains busy making a living by driving lorries. Thus, Ingrid raises all the children by herself. She pretends to treat the kids in the right way by saying all of them are the same. However, she does insult Enitan sometimes. Enitan suffers constant low-level racism at home, with his foster mother repeatedly threatening to send him back to Wooga Wooga land if he misbehaves. He's also the object of ceaseless bullying at school, due to which he learns to hate his blackness. One day, Ingrid makes him shoplift. The little boy sneaks into a pawn shop and successfully manages to steal a gold chain. He brings over the gift to his mom. However, when the shopkeeper knows about this, Ingrid slaps Enitan and uses racial slurs. She later tells him that she was forced to punish him, otherwise they would be in serious trouble. Enitan understands and promises Mommy he will get the chain next time. As the days pass by, Enitan continues to be the victim of bullying at school. In one instance, the bullies even unleash their ferocious dog on him. As a result, the poor boy has to undergo 10 stitches on his forehead. Ingrid is obviously furious by this and demands her husband take revenge on the neighborhood gypsy boys who hurt Enitan. But Enitan's foster father instead advises him to stand against the bullies by himself. The scene then shifts to Enitan watching a rainbow from his window. He, along with his siblings, then run to the streets in search of the rainbow end. After strolling for a while, they come across a puddle of water and finally find what they're looking for. The kids then make their wishes before hurrying home. Arriving at home, Enitan's excited demeanor quickly changes when he sees a couple in their waiting room. They are his parents, Femi and Tolu, who had left their son years ago under the foster care of Ingrid. The next thing we know, Enitan and his 2 twin sisters are riding a cab to their Nigerian village. The young boy learns that they're now going to stay here for the rest of their lives. Devastated by the dark truth, he remains silent throughout his stay with his Nigerian parents. Even when he is said to greet his grandfather, Enitan fails to show any feelings of love or respect towards this new family. It seems like his grandfather was already upset with his parents about the foster care service. Looking at Enitan's condition, Grandpa tells his son Femi that it takes a whole village to raise a child. And England is not their village. The people there do not know their customs and culture. Grandpa then suggests they perform a prayer ritual to bring Enitan's ancestral spirit back home. The scene then cuts to a voodoo-like customary practice, where a tantric woman continuously cuts Enitan's chest with sharp blades. This superstitious practice leaves the young boy bleeding and crying for help, while the mysterious people around him ceaselessly chant mantras. Following this, Enitan's parents throw a party to celebrate the completion of the ritual. However, the poor boy seems to be out of touch with everyone around him, especially his biological parents. Despite all of his parents' efforts, Enitan refuses to open his mouth or reply during conversations. Not only his parents, but also his teachers at the new school are tired of him, due to which he has to change schools many times. One day, his class teacher asks a question, to which Eniton fails to answer. More precisely, he refuses to talk. He is then punished by being made to stand beside the classroom door on one leg. After class, as the furious teacher is set to beat him with his stick, Eniton quickly snatches the stick and beats the teacher instead. His father, Femi, becomes furious when he learns of this incident. Ignoring his wife's pleas, he sends Eniton back to his foster parents, where further challenges await him. In the next scene, Eniton returns to Tilbury and reunites with Ingrid and the others. When she pesters him, he goes to the bathroom and locks himself in. He then tries to scrub off his black skin before covering himself in a whitening talcum powder paste. The following day, he goes to school with the same ghostly, freakish result, only to end up attracting more ridicule from his peers. The film then fast-forwards to when Eniton is a teenager. He is still friendless, except for the kindly nurture of his saint-like English teacher, Ms. Doppo. During one of her classes, a classmate casually makes a joke out of Eniton. The teenager, who used to be a lean kid, is now a sturdy boy and has learned to stand up against his bullies. His classmates' remarks leave him enraged, due to which a fight ensues in the classroom. Moments after, the headmaster arrives at the scene and suspends Eniton for getting into much trouble these days. Despite this, Eniton returns to school the following day, but he won't step inside. Ms. Doppo notices him and indulges him in a deep conversation. She tells him that she could talk to the headmaster about the suspension, but Eniton doesn't reply at all. After that, the teacher asks him what his dream was when he was a child. Eniton initially remains silent, but then slowly murmurs, saying that he always liked drawing. He reveals that he loves clean papers. It gives him a great deal of satisfaction to draw figures in such papers and see them come alive. When asked about his friends, the teenager reveals that he does not have tons of them. He even talks to them behind their house sofa. Miss Doppo rightly guesses that his friends are only in his imagination. After having a meaningful conversation with his teacher, Eniton goes to the field and sits down to draw blooming wildflowers. Unbeknownst to him, this is the territory of a local gang, self-dubbed as Tilbury Skins. The gang is led by Levy, who carries the hatred for black immigrants in his blood. While Eniton is busy with his drawing, Levy and his goons surprise him from behind. They do not waste their time to taunt the poor teenager. Eniton ends up getting spray-painted white by Levy and the goons, who then threaten the teenager to never come to their place. Humiliated, Eniton gathers much courage and returns to the same place the following day. With a hammer in one hand, he calls out for Levy and challenges him for a duel. However, the gangster is least intimidated by the young boy. He walks straight towards Eniton and punches him, causing the teenager to bleed from the nose and fall to the ground. Eniton eventually transforms from being continuously targeted by Levy to becoming his reluctantly accepted pet. This misguided idea stems from his belief that if he can surpass others in the intensity of his racial prejudice, he might finally find a group to belong to. Thus, the 16-year-old boy changes his life by joining the skinheads. First, they discourage, humiliate, and use him as a weapon. However, the teenager gets tougher with every moment and starts getting respected by the gang when he makes the bold move to slaughter a pig in front of everyone. Following this, the teenager joins the skinheads gang in robbing a post office, harassing black people, including Ms. Doppo, and even starting a fight with other local hooligans, the Gray Skins. The gangsters from the Gray Skins soon retaliate by infiltrating the club party, frequented by Levy, Eniton, and the rest of the skinheads. The two rivals get into a ruthless battle where Eniton ends up setting fire to one of the opponent gangsters. Following this, Eniton, Levy, and his goons end up in jail. Ingrid soon learns of the situation and arrives at the station. Although she gets Eniton out, violence doesn't stop for him. Soon after, he joins Levy and his goons to resume their fight against the Grayskins. The two rival gangs round up in a field and prepare to charge. However, the Grayskins only want Eniton because he burnt their friend. Under Levy's orders, Eniton takes charge and walks solo towards the rival gangs. Unfortunately, the sly Levy and his thugs leave Eniton alone during the fight. As a result, the teenager is badly hurt and can barely stand on his feet. Battered and bruised, he goes to confront Levy, who only taunts him by using racial slurs. Eniton finally sees his boss's true colors and stabs him in the stomach. As a result, the teenager is once again brought down to the station. Thankfully, his biological parents, who are now lawyers, manage to bail him out. However, just as he's freed, Eniton rushes over to his secret garden place, where he had kept Levy's pet python. He had claimed the python after stabbing Levy and critically injuring him. Eniton becomes devastated when he sees that the pet python has been killed ruthlessly. With nowhere to go and no one to look up to, the teenager tries to kill himself. But thankfully, the police arrive just in time to save the boy. Fast forward to 6 months later, Eniton wakes up in a social institution where pupils like him who need extra support are kept. He comes across Miss Doppo, who is also a teacher in this institution. Eniton feels sorry for the time Levy and the skinheads had harassed her, so he eventually opens up with her and lets out all of his emotions. In the meantime, after looking at Eniton's worsening condition, his foster parents express concern to his biological parents. Consequently, Eniton's biological parents pay a hefty stipend for the teenager to be well facilitated at the institution. He's also made to study law, a condition set by his biological father. With the support of Ms. Doppo and social workers, Eniton's health gets better, and he starts developing an interest in law. His life takes a positive turn when he achieves a C grade in his exams, boosting his confidence. 3 years later, he goes from being a troubled youth with extremist views to earning a master's degree in law from King's College London. A new chapter unfolds when Eniton is noticed in college and receives an opportunity to pursue a career in modeling. This sets him on a path of success, especially after he moves to Los Angeles. In a surprising twist, Eniton, that is, Adwale Akinoye Agbaje in real life, transitions from his challenging past to become an actor and director. In the epilogue of the film, it's revealed that Adwale reconnected with his biological family, although forgiving them proved to be a difficult journey. On the other hand, he also reconciled with his foster parents, who continued to foster children. Despite the challenges, Adwale found a way to make peace with his past and pursue a successful career in the entertainment industry. He has taken roles in movies and series such as Congo, Oz, The Bourne Identity, The Mummy Returns, Lost, and Game of Thrones.